How's it going, everyone? It's Johnny Beard here, and welcome to a very special episode of the Streamer Stories podcast. My guest today is not a streamer, but his contributions on YouTube to the video game industry cannot be understated. It is my absolute pleasure to introduce you to all to Slippy Slides.
Hey, everybody. Thanks for having me on, Johnny B. I appreciate it.
No, thanks for agreeing, mate. Really appreciate it. So, we've got a slightly different setup today because you're not a streamer, but as I said, your work on YouTube is really, really awesome. So I really appreciate what you do, man.
Much, man. I appreciate it. No, I appreciate that, and I appreciate you having me on the show as well.
Awesome, mate. So do you want to just give us a bit of an overview about what you do on YouTube and, what is it that you introduce yourself, basically?
Yeah, so obviously I'm Slippy Slides, and on YouTube, I think the main thing I do is I try and look behind the scenes of video games, whether that's using free cameras or glitching and things like that, just to kind of see what's going on behind the places that you can't normally see in video games. That's my main aim, as well as showing secrets and secrets that devs put into the games and things like that.
Yeah.
And that's my main aim.
It's brilliant. What you do is so cool. It's so cool. We'll definitely get to that later on, though.
Thanks, dude.
But we're gonna go back to the beginning, mate, because I'm sure you've got a lot of history with video games.
Yeah.
So just right at the beginning, then. So what was your first time you remember seeing or hearing about video games?
Wow, my first. I mean, that's going back some years, that JB. That is going back some. Probably, I remember my father having. I think at the time it was an Amstrad, with the tapes.
Wow,
the tapes that you used to put in all the way back then. I mean, I was only little at the time, and I could never really play it as such. I didn't even really know what it was, but I do remember him playing things like one. Crashing a lot at the time. But that was probably my earliest memory of video games. And then, well, to be honest, the first time I was playing video games myself was probably on an Atari.
Yeah.
Nice. The Atari ST. And I used to play video games on that. That was kind of my first. I didn't really know what I was doing back then, but a game called Slightly Magic always springs to mind because it was a game I actually got for Christmas at the time.
Excellent.
And I remember running around picking things up, but that's about it. I had no idea what I was doing on that game.
Oh wow!
But yeah, so going back to the Atari days really is my first memories of video gaming.
That's fantastic. No, that's brilliant. And of course, you mentioned Christmas there. Did you get a bundle of games, or was it just the one?
No, it was just the one. Me and my brother, we got one each at the time. Mine was slightly. I can't remember what my brother got. It was another platformer because back on the Atari, I think every game was a platformer more or less.
Yeah.
It was like, but yeah, it was just the one each, and we spent time on those games.
Oh wow, that's awesome. So from the Atari then. So what other games did you get over time?
Well, from the Atari going forward, let me think. So I remember my brother getting a Sega Mega Drive, but it was quite late on into the actual life cycle of the Sega Mega Drive. We were stuck on the Ataris for a long time. We never really moved off that. Even when consoles were coming out, because obviously the Master System and the NES was out by then. But we kind of stuck with the Atari for quite a long time, up until the Sega Mega Drive came out. And when my brother got the Sega Mega Drive, it was like, wow. Playing Sonic and things like that, Streets of Rage. It was just like another level,
Oh, I'd imagine.
It was crazy. So then, after that, we kind of stuck with the consoles. I eventually a SNES. I got that for Christmas as well. One year, the SNES. I remember going to a friend's house and seeing it. He was playing Royal Rumble on the SNES.
Oh,
and
wow.
I was like, man, I have got to get me one of these. So that was the beginning of the consoles in our family, really.
That's fantastic. No, I'm the same when it comes to the Mega Drive and games in general. Actually, I got my first console, which was the Mega Drive, but it was back in '98. So I was a few years older then. So I know the feeling. I know the feeling.
Yeah, yeah. Like I said, we were quite old when it was quite late into the life cycle of the Sega Mega Drive when we got one, but it was still awesome to get one. You know,
Oh,
when you've not played something like that before.
oh, 100%, 100%. And yeah, it's such a colourful console. You know, the graphics just burst, I think.
Yeah,
And I can imagine that.
definitely. From going from the Atari to something like Sonic, it was like wow, and the music as well.
Ah,
Like
yes,
I think was it 8-bit music. I know that sounds ridiculous now, but it was just totally different, you know.
100%. So yeah, you mentioned Streets of Rage, you mentioned Sonic. So any other games on the Mega Drive that come to mind?
Well, I mean, there was quite a few. Toe Jam and Earl.
Oh,
Have you ever played Toe Jam and Earl?
my son is playing that, not right now, but obviously he's living it. He's got the Mega Drive collection, you see, on the PS4.
Yeah. Ah, right. Yeah.
Loves to Jam and Earl.
Toe Jam and Earl was an absolute classic, man. I still play that to this day. When me and one of my friends we go out, we only see each other every now and again because he lives over in York. But whenever we meet up and have a drink, straight back Sega Mega Drive, Toe Jam and Earl.
That's so wholesome. That's so wholesome.
Yeah. And we
Love
just see
it.
how far we can get. Normally pretty drunk, so not that far.
Ah, excellent. Is that again over Christmas time? Is there anything else you do around Christmas time?
Oh well, what just in general or gaming wise or
Gaming wise?
gaming wise? I remember one Christmas I got Zelda Ocarina of Time.
Oh yeah.
Oh my God, that was I've been waiting for it for quite some time before that. But when I got that game, oh, it just blew my mind. Again, it was like something. I mean, I played Mario 64 and things like that, the games that come out on the Nintendo 64 before that.
Yeah, yeah.
But Zelda it was just something else. And I remember getting it for Christmas and I unwrapped it and I was so excited. But we had to go and do the usual, go and seeing the family and things like that before I could go on it.
Ooh, yeah.
But it was, when I loaded it up, it was like, wow, everything else, you know.
Oh man, yeah. I have similar feelings when it comes to Christmas. When it comes to Sonic and Knuckles, I played
Right.
I played through Sonic 1 and 2. I didn't play Sonic 3 at the time, but it was still a step up. And you
Yeah.
could play this new character called Knuckles. And I remember,
Yeah.
I remember getting the box. I got the artwork, and for me, that's still to this day my favorite box art. Is Sonic and Knuckles. It's just simple design.
Yeah.
But I remember opening the
I think I
presents.
remember it, actually. I think I do remember that, yeah.
It's just like a circle with Sonic and Knuckles in it, really simple.
Yeah.
But I remember opening up the present and seeing it, and I don't know what it was, but it just visually was so appealing to me. And then loading the game up, and it was like, oh yes, this is like heaven.
Yeah. Fantastic.
Oh, awesome. Oh, brilliant, mate. So you went from Mega Drive to Nintendo 64. You kind of had a few consoles. You mentioned the NES as well. Did you have the Super Nintendo SNES?
Yeah, it was a Super. Yeah, I had the Sega Mega Drive, and then I remember going to a friend's house, seeing the SNES, and I was like, oh man, I've got to get me one of these. So I asked for that, and eventually I got one of those. And then I kind of stuck with Nintendo after that. My brother went off into the PlayStations. He had the PlayStation console, the very first one, and I kind of went off with Nintendo just because I'd had a SNES and I was like loyal to Nintendo back then. So I went with I actually knew about the Nintendo 64 long before it came out, and I was reading about it in the Nintendo magazines at the time.
Oh, nice.
And rather than going for the Sega Saturn, which a lot of my friends did, I stuck it out and I saved my money, and then I went for the N64, and I was because I bought it myself as well. I was made up. I was like, I've saved for this, you know, and it was awesome when I first got it.
That's awesome.
I seem to remember getting it on the day one release. I got my first Nintendo 64 on day one, which was quite a big thing because a lot of my friends hadn't been able to get that. So we used to get everybody over to the. We were all on all 64 at the time.
Oh, brilliant. I was about to ask that actually. Is obviously famously having the 4 controllers and stuff like that. Did you get a full bundle?
Yeah. I didn't, no. I actually got 2. I got two controllers, but at the time, I think I had Mario 64 and Pilot Wings, which wasn't great for multiplayer
No.
because neither of those games were multiplayer. But we just took turns, you know. We had about 4 or 5 people in the house, and we all just took turns playing Mario and Pilot Wings, which was awesome.
That's so cool. So did you play most of the games on your own or with friends and family?
Oh, definitely. Well, I mean, I did play on my own as well, but a lot of the time, me and my brother would sort of play the games together. Or he'd come and watch me play the games, or I'd go and watch him. You know, I remember going to the shop. We'd get some cans of pop, and then just go back and play video games. Really, and he'd either sit and watch me playing, or vice versa. Really. But definitely in the early days, I suppose I used to get a lot of friends over. I was quite lucky, really, because in the area where I used to live, I had a lot of friends who were close by. So they could all just come over within walking distance. So when games like Goldeneye, Mario Kart 64 were coming out, we all just piled into one room, and that was it. We'd spend hours just playing those games on multiplayer. But I think it's quite sad, really, because I don't think that happens as much anymore with the internet being how it was. I mean, the internet and playing games online was just a dream back then.
Oh,
You
yeah.
know, it wasn't really anything. You couldn't do anything about it, so you had to have the friends over, and so a lot of the time we played multiplayer on with friends, obviously.
That's just awesome. But yeah, like you said, it's not the same anymore. No.
No,
So
it's like I think. I mean, obviously you still do. It's the same kind of thing where you're playing with your friends online, isn't it? But it's not like they're not at the house, you know.
no, it's a very different way of playing. That's for sure. So
Yeah.
so yeah, you had the N64. Your brother had a PS1. So you were quite fortunate, really, that you had different options, really.
Oh, definitely, yeah.
No, that's awesome. So you mentioned GoldenEye. Any other N64 games that come to mind?
Oh, GoldenEye, Zelda, Banjo Kazooie,
Classics.
Donkey Kong. I had a Perfect Dark as well, actually, because Perfect Dark obviously was the came after GoldenEye. And I just love those games. Both of those games were awesome.
Oh, I remember, 'cause I never had the N64, but I remember hearing so much about GoldenEye being like the best game ever made, like Ocarina of
Yeah,
Time as
yeah.
well. 'Cause I never had,
Oh, mate.
I never had the Nintendo consoles, so there was always this like slight envy of hearing about how good GoldenEye was, hearing about how good Ocarina of Time was, Mario 64. So, but yeah, you got the whole spectrum. That's so cool.
Yeah,
So
it was awesome back then. I really I appreciate how good it was, having those different consoles and things like that. Because me and my brother were fortunate to have those.
So how much did you spend? Not money, obviously, but like how much time did you spend with Nintendo magazines and magazines in general? So again, that was a bit of a
Oh,
bygone era, isn't it?
Yeah, every month I went to the shop on the day of the release of it was the official Nintendo magazine, and I actually had a subscription to that as well.
Brilliant.
And the shopkeeper always used to, even if they sold out, they'd save me one,
Yes.
one of the copies, because they knew I'd be there to get it.
Oh,
So yeah, that was awesome. I'd spend hours reading them. Like I say, even before the Nintendo 64 came out, I knew a lot about it previous to that, from reading the magazines.
yeah. It's such a shame it's a bygone time. But obviously everything's so fast tracked now with the internet. But I mean, like they're just little teasers and little snippets of information that they just feed you over time.
That's right. Yeah, you could see the progress of the games coming through each magazine. When you're watching them.
Yeah, and I love the
Oh,
story.
when you're looking at them, should I say, not watching them. But
Yeah, but yeah, I love the story about the local shopkeeper always saving you on. That brings back memories as well. Just
yeah, that's right. Yeah,
Good
she was
times.
really nice, actually.
Oh.
She said, "I've got your magazine."
that's so cool,
So that was cool.
awesome, man. So, any other video game stories you can think of growing up?
Well, I mean, there is one that springs to mind, and I'm going to repeat myself here. It's about Goldeneye,
Excellent. Yeah, yeah.
because I was at one of my friend's house. Uh, there was a lad from school who he was a bit mental. He was a nutcase, and he was playing Goldeneye with us, and he literally he won one round. I remember him winning one round, and he went mental because he'd won, and he actually ripped up my mate's bedroom.
What?
He like destroyed the bed. He pulled the curtains down. He was just going mental, and we all had to jump on him to try and stop him from destroying everything.
Oh my
And that
God.
always springs to mind. I mean, I got on with the guy. He was a great lad. But yeah, yeah, that always springs to mind.
That's amazing.
That's what multiplayer did to you back then.
Uh,
That's what multiplayer games did.
I was going to say, don't mention that story to anyone saying that video games don't cause violence. It's not true.
No,
It's not
well,
true.
no, that's yeah. We'll keep that hush.
Yeah, yeah. Shh. Brilliant. Oh wow, what a story. So yeah, after that then, you didn't have the PlayStation 1, but did you go to Xbox, PlayStation, GameCube? Where did you go? Or did you go online?
Yeah, so after that, I did get an Xbox 360, which I've still got next to me actually on my shelf.
Oh, brilliant.
I had the Xbox 360. I missed the first Xbox. I was still stuck in time on the N64 back then, but yeah, I missed the first Xbox and then jumped straight to the 360. PlayStation 2 as well.
Mm.
Um, but that was more my brother's. So by then, we weren't going into playing each other's consoles. You know, I stuck with the N64, he stuck with the PlayStations, and then I went to the Xbox 360 later on.
Excellent. So, any games that come to mind that you can think of that you really enjoyed on the 360?
Ah, well, I mean, Halo. We've got to mention Halo, aren't we?
Nice.
And in fact, that's one of the games I'm playing right now, which is pretty damn cool. And I'm still actually playing that on the Xbox One, believe it or not.
Nice.
And it's really good. Yeah, I'm really enjoying it.
Oh, that's awesome. So, do you play online on the Xbox 360 much back then?
I've got to be honest, no. I don't really play multiplayer online. I say that. I did Call of Duty. Call of Duty games were my sort of go-to online game. But no, since then I've never really played competitively online. Like PvP and things like that. It's just never really. I'm more into story-driven games now, like campaign and things like that. But yeah, no. So I'm sorry, I can't really tell you much about that side of things because I don't really do it.
No, that's absolutely. Don't apologize. So, yeah. So 360 then. So did PC gaming? Is it a thing for you, or is it just more of a YouTube thing for you? Where's PC gaming on your spectrum?
It is now. It never used to be because PC back in my day when I was younger was only ever used for doing homework. We never really. I remember having Tomb Raider, the very first Tomb Raider on the PC, but that was pretty much one of the only games that we had. And so the PC was mainly for doing homework, looking up Encarta and things like that. And then it was always consoles, but now that's kind of flipped on its head now.
Yeah.
Because obviously with doing the cameras and looking into memory of games and things like that, it's much, much easier to do on the PC than it is to try and do it on the Xbox or anything like that. So to me, PC gaming has now took over really, and I only really play games on PC, mainly because I've got the Xbox Live, and you can play most of the games on the PC anyway. In fact, I think you can play PlayStation games on the PC now.
I think you can.
Can't you?
I think you can.
Yeah, I think you can get PlayStation Network on PC and play some of the games on that. So, a couple of years, or a few years ago, I started getting into the more PC gaming side of things than console. Hence why I've only got an Xbox One still. I've never sort of upgraded past that.
Yeah. No, that's cool. That's cool. All right. So, what is your favorite video game of all time and why? Very, very difficult
Ooh,
questions.
that is a tough question. That is a tough question. But probably again, I'm gonna have to repeat myself and go back to the N64 days
Yeah,
because it's got to be Zelda
yeah.
Ocarina of Time. Because I think that's just mainly because of the memories that I have playing that game.
Yeah.
Um,
But
and it came at Christmas, so it was
yeah,
just a special game to get at Christmas. And also because I think it sort of revolutionised modern games today,
100%.
if that makes sense. You know, with the 3D platforming and the adventure and things like that.
Yeah.
That along with Goldeneye really made games what they are today, in my eyes, anyway.
No, no, you got a very valid point. And as someone that's never really, would you believe, I've never properly played Ocarina of Time. Can you explain to?
You've got to play it.
I know,
You've got to play
I
it.
know. Everyone tells me. Everyone tells me. So on that basis,
You
then
should do a stream on it, JB.
I
Do a stream. I'll definitely watch that.
it's on my list. It's on my list. But on that basis, then explain to me, sell it to me about why that I should play that game and why it's one of the best games ever made. I think it's a really good story.
Well, I mean, for me, it was more about the memories of playing that at
Yeah.
Christmas. Plus, my friends had it, so we were always kind of like, "Oh, where are you up to?" And we were always talking about it. You know,
Yeah.
how far we got, the progression, what we collected, things like that. But I think I mean, these days, I hear people saying that it's the graphics are outdated. I mean, yeah, they are. They are. Let's be honest. They don't look as good as what games do today. But if you can get past that and sort of when I was a kid playing it wasn't like it was in the game. So in my mind, how can I put this? In my mind, it looked different to what it does.
Yes.
So like where the were just sort of obviously a lot is pixelated. But in my mind, it was a tree. A tree was a tree back then. So when you're running through the forest, Kokiri Forest, and things like that, everything was how it would be in real life, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Because of my imagination playing that. But yeah, I've kind of diverse there anyway. But yeah, definitely. Even though it doesn't look as good as what it may have done back then, the adventure of the game and I don't know, just the characters and everything. Just how can I put this? It was I can't describe it. It was just a really good game to play.
Yeah, man. No, it's on my list. I got to play it. And like you said, though, it's you talking about like how things were like back then. Like it's a bit like reading a book, isn't it? You use your imagination, and I think that's been lost somewhat.
That's right. Yeah.
It's been lost somewhat now with the younger generation. Dare I say, hate sounding like a boomer, but with the fact that everything has to be about good graphics. But
yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Like I mean,
but that back then you had to use your imagination, didn't
right?
you? It was like these days you get the graphics given to you to make it look realistic. Well, you couldn't do that back then. You had to. Obviously, game developers did the best to make the games look good, but back then, I think using your imagination sort of brought the game to life. Like you say, reading a book is exactly the same. It's what you've got in your head of what's going on screen, you know.
No, 100%. And I mean, my equivalent, I suppose, would be Final Fantasy 7. I mean, I love Final Fantasy 9, but I mean, Final Fantasy 7, like the memories of seeing that game, I don't think the game looks that dated in my head at all. And it always brings me back to my childhood of playing that, seeing it, feeling it, and using my imagination. So yeah.
Yeah,
It's very, very similar. All right. So, what are you playing right now?
Right now, like I mentioned, Halo Infinite is one of the games I'm playing right now.
Yeah.
I got that very far into it actually. I've only just got into because it's an open world game. I don't know if you've played it yet.
No,
I don't want to give any spoilers away. I'm not that far into it, but I'd rather not give spoilers away. But it's like an open world type game.
Okay.
And I'm playing that, and I've just got to the part where it's open world, and Yeah, it's really good. You should give it a go. Definitely, it's really good. Even on, like I said, on the Xbox One, the graphics are still great on that. Um,
Awesome.
Definitely worth playing.
Yeah, no, I heard like again the last couple of Halo games had mixed reception, didn't they? But people seem to be almost surprised
Yeah,
by how good
yeah,
this one is.
yeah. That's right. Yeah. To be honest, I stopped playing Halo. I think I got Halo 4, but I only got halfway through Halo 4 at the time. Just trying to. I'm actually looking around on my shelf now. That if my sound's going quiet on my microphone, I'm just gonna see if I'm sure it was Halo 4 that I got through and well halfway through and stopped playing. Not that it wasn't a good game, but I just got bored halfway through it.
Yeah,
This seems to be a lot better.
yeah, it seems to be a bit of a comeback, which is great because back in those days, Halo was the go-to when it came to the FPS experience. Really, that and
Yeah,
Half Life, I'd say, probably were the two back in the early noughties, I think.
that's it. Yeah,
Um,
Half Life. Oh, Half Life. My God, the time I've spent on Half Life, that was amazing, weren't it? Half Life and Half Life 2 as well, in fact.
yeah, yeah,
Great games.
good times, man, good times. So when you play games yourself, do you
Mm.
look for like achievements, trophies? Is that something that comes into the equation?
No, not really, no. I wouldn't say achievements or trophies, but I do think with the way my channel's gone, from finding secrets and things like that, out of bounds secrets, I've always got that in my mind now when I'm playing video games. From the very early days, I always kind of wanted to know what was out there.
Yeah.
Like playing Mario 64, I always wanted to know what was over that hill or what was behind the castle at the
Mm,
time,
mm,
and that's kind of continued into my channel and how I play games now. I'm always trying to find secrets and Easter eggs and things like that, hidden stuff, but not so much achievements. I just play the games, whatever I fancy playing, really. Not
mm.
not to do achievements or anything like that.
No, awesome. No, that's cool. And you mentioned obviously Easter eggs and secrets and stuff like that. Obviously, we're going to talk a lot about that soon. But like just going back again to you mentioning the Nintendo magazine, because again, there's a lot of Easter eggs that were thrown into there, cheat codes,
Yeah,
cheat books. Has that always been
yeah,
something
yeah.
that you've been interested in as well?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, yeah. Back in the day, I remember using something called an equalizer. I don't know if you've ever heard of it.
I think so.
Yeah, it was basically you put the cartridge on well, whatever you're playing, like the SNES or the Nintendo 64, you put the cartridge in the top. But the equalizer had something different. It was you could view the memory of the game that you were
Oh,
playing. So you could actually change little bits of memory and open up secrets that the devs had left on the cards. So, say for instance, Goldeneye springs to mind again. You could actually unlock the cradle level as multiplayer and things like that. Like you could unlock the full facility for multiplayer as well, because there was only a section of facility that you could be in multiplayer mode. But you
mm.
could unlock the full thing by equalizer cartridge, and that was something that I was always playing about with, trying new things. Again, I didn't really know what I was doing properly back then,
Yeah.
but it was just good fun to play about with the games.
Wow. So it's always been there, really, hasn't it? In terms of that
Yeah, yeah,
that intrigue, that wanting to know behind the scenes. That's really cool.
that's right. Yeah,
Did you
yeah.
ever, pardon me, did you ever go into debug mode on Sonic back on the Mega Drive days?
I did. Yes, I remember doing that. Yeah, planting rings everywhere and things like
Yeah,
that. Yeah, that was awesome.
yeah. That was probably the first time I ever really saw stuff like that. Like I always remember someone telling me the code as well, just to unlock all levels. And just like that, just that perception of being able to do that blew my mind.
Yeah, it's crazy, isn't it? And that's the way I'm assuming the devs would have tested things out, obviously with the debug mode. And yeah, it's always sort of been in the back of my mind to try things like that.
Yeah, I mean, pardon me. Is there any interest? So you play a lot of games on PC. Do you are you interested in mods at all? Is that something that comes into the equation with yourself?
Yeah, definitely. If there's a mod I think I'm going to enjoy, or I think it could enhance the game somehow, then yeah, definitely. I like mods.
Hmm.
Trying
Oh,
to think of stuff that I've done a few myself actually on certain games. I've never released them publicly, but
yeah.
I have messed around with doing mods and things like that. You know, like swapping characters and character swaps and things like that.
Oh, that's so cool. Yeah. No, I'm a bit vanilla, should we say, with mods.
Right.
I've always wanted to. Like, I mean, the best example I can give you is Skyrim. Like, so many mods on there,
Yeah.
and
Oh,
I've never
hundreds and
experienced it.
hundreds, isn't there?
Never experienced it. My friends like
No.
they can't. Some of my friends are like, I can't play vanilla Skyrim anymore. I'm like, I still enjoy it.
Just because of playing the mods.
Yeah, yeah.
I think the new Skyrim that's has it come out or it's coming out actually has mods included, doesn't it?
Yes, yes, it
I think there's
does.
hundreds of mods that you can turn on and off automatically.
Yeah,
Um,
but again, that's an interesting question. I was that lovely segue goes into it about mods, which is that there's a lot of developers and of games and stuff that try to restrict mods and hacking and tweaking of a game, seeing behind the scenes, and then there's
yeah,
those who are quite open about it. Yeah, go ahead, enjoy
open.
it.
Yeah.
What's your perception of that as someone that obviously has a lot of interest and a lot of experience with it?
Well, I think I don't see. I can kind of understand both ways.
Yeah.
I can kind of understand that game developers like the games to be how they've made them.
Mm.
But also, at the same time, I think if someone's going to make a mod and it doesn't affect the game in a negative way,
Mm.
then so be it. I know one of the people I watch. He's made a 60 frames per second mod
Mm.
for one of the older games. Now, frame rate to me doesn't particularly matter that much, but it's only enhancing the game
Hmm.
for everybody else.
Yeah.
So if he can do that, if he can make that mod and make it work properly without breaking any other parts of the game, then why doesn't the developer say, well, we'll either buy that off you or we'll, if you want to give it us, we'll take that and credit you and let us put that in the game. It makes sense to me. You're basically getting someone else to do work for you.
Yeah.
So why not appreciate that and accept that?
Yeah, definitely. And again, a game that comes to mind obviously recently is the remaster of the GTA trilogy. So many people
Yes,
went
yes,
straight to town and modded that because of the poor reception the game got.
correct.
It's
Yeah.
it's it's very interesting. I was going somewhere with that and I forgot where I was going. But yeah, I was going to mention again about like maybe mods or maybe fan made games. Because again, that's another like grey area. Like obviously, sometimes you get a developer will immediately last second cancel the fan made game because it's their intellectual property.
That's right. Yeah, yeah. I
Yeah.
mean, I can understand that because obviously developers want to keep their own property, basically, don't they?
Mm.
So I can understand that, but again, if the game's good enough, why not have the developer say, well, we'll buy that off you, and or do whatever way around it they see fit. But I can't see the point in if something's really good, just scrapping it and getting rid of it.
Hmm.
There's no point to that whatsoever to me.
Yeah.
It's just a waste of time. It's a waste of everybody's time when it could be something that people really enjoy and the developer has basically been given. It could be for free. I don't know.
Mm.
So why not use it?
Yeah. No, couldn't have said it better. And again, what was the other thing I was going to mention was yeah, this is the crazy thing about video games is that you can't do that with other media. You can't like change a script of a movie. Or you
No,
can't
that's
like
it.
unless you scribble on a book, you can't change a novel.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
yet there's that tangible thing with video games that we can change almost what we want within reason.
That's it. Yeah. And I mean, to be honest, there's some games out there that say for I don't know. Let's use Nintendo as an example for this one. there's games which they have no intention, or they don't make money off them anymore. Let's put it that way. They don't make money because they're not current games. They're not selling. So if that game is being modded, then why not just let it happen? You know, what's the problem with that? Because Nintendo weren't making money off it anymore.
Yeah.
So let the people improve the game.
Yeah, definitely. And no, it's fascinating, really. And like again, when it comes down to streamers, you know, playing mods, or just to talk about games not having the same respect, should we say, in terms of remasters, or having older games being brought forward into today's, you know, consoles or PC or whatever. Whereas in you know, movies get, you know, redeveloped, put on Blu-ray or whatever. It's not. It's a very interesting. I think we're in a very interesting time when it comes to video games at the moment.
Yeah, definitely, it is. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, you're right. I mean, you can't just change a movie script, can you? It's movies. Once you've bought it, that's it. You're watching that movie once it's been made. But with video games, there's so many opportunities now to improve them and pretty much do what you want with them.
Yeah, exactly. Right. So if you were stuck on a remote island and you could only choose 3 games that you could play for the rest of your life on that island, you've got access to the internet. You can mod, I suppose, if you want as well.
Right.
What would the 3 games be and why?
Oh, that's a tough question. Right. So, 3 games. Let me just take a minute to think about this.
No problem.
Just take a minute. So I'm gonna go with Resident Evil 4.
Oh, nice. Yeah.
And I saw you doing the live stream.
Yes.
By the way. Resident Evil 4. I've got to take a GTA, but I'm not sure which one. Just because if I was stuck on a desert island, I'd want something where I can explore and run around and act like a normal, civilized human being, of course.
Oh, yes.
So probably GTA 5.
Yeah.
It would have to be. And my last would be Ocarina of Time. It's got to be Ocarina of Time. Because I enjoy playing it so much. I can't leave that one out if it's my favourite game, can I?
People I've asked that question a few times, and people have left their favourite game out. It's the online.
Really?
It's the online quality of it. Like when I flipped the script on myself, and someone interviewed me on my podcast, I put Left 4 Dead 2 on there because that's probably one of my all-time favourite online games. But I couldn't say like I couldn't quite say it's like a top 5 game of all time, although it's quite high on my list. The online quality brings a lot of different answers out.
Yeah, I suppose. I mean, it's like I said, I don't really play online that much in multiplayer online.
Yeah.
But yeah, I guess in a way, you've got that connection then, haven't you?
Yeah.
If you're on a desert island, definitely.
But your trilogy is fantastic. I love that trilogy. You got a great combination there of everything. You know, you got horror, action.
Well, Resident Evil 4 is actually probably one of my favourite games. So
it's so good. It's so good. I love your work on Resi 4. We'll definitely come to that in a bit, I'm sure.
Oh, thank you.
Thank you. And GTA 5. I was gonna. I didn't want to put words into your mouth, but I was gonna suggest based on what you were going with to say GTA 5 because again, you can go online with it.
Yeah, exactly.
And you can play. You got 3 different characters, different personalities, a humongous city, online play, and there's a lot of role playing as well that people are doing at the moment. I don't know if you see much of that. That's a fascinating world.
No, I've not actually. No, I might have to. I'll look into that.
Oh yeah, no, it's a fascinating world. People actually pretending to be like, someone. There's like a role play out there for Manchester. It's not actually based. It's based on Manchester, UK, but it's not actually looking like Manchester. It's looking like San Andreas, the city. But people are pretending to be NHS ambulance workers, policemen, Obviously, people
Wow.
dealing drugs or doing whatever, doing some criminal activities. People playing in character.
That is crazy. That
So
is, but that going back to what we were saying before about using your imagination.
right, yeah.
Back in the day, you could only imagine that sort of thing happening, couldn't you? Like
Oh,
there was no games like GTA back then, so you had to. I used to play different where I'd be either racing or running or shooting, and imagining something like that as one game, you
yeah,
know. And then when GTA came out, it was obviously the first one was an overhead view. I don't
yeah,
know if you remember.
yes,
But but to think we've gone from that sort of overhead view to what we have now, where you can pretty much run round a full city doing whatever you like,
yeah.
it's pretty insane.
Oh yeah, I mean for me, GTA 3 changed everything when it came
Yeah,
to
yeah,
that. It was so groundbreaking. It gets a bit of a flack now, GTA 3, because it's
yeah.
not.
It does, doesn't it?
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's a weird time. Like when that came out, it was mind blowing. The
I
stuff you can do.
remember renting GTA 3 from Blockbuster. Well,
Nice.
actually, it was my friend who rented it from Blockbuster, and we didn't have the money to buy it at the time, but we just kept. And yeah, it was an awesome time that GTA 3.
Oh, what a game! What a game! Yeah. So let's talk about YouTube then. So how long have you been on YouTube for as a content creator? And tell us about that forays into YouTube.
So, as a content creator, I think I'm going on to my seventh year now, or it might even be eight. I
Wow.
can't quite remember. I think it was, would it have been 2014? I think I started
Hmm.
creating content. So yeah, so when I first started, I only had one video in mind that I wanted to publish. Actually, an out of bounds glitch on Call of Duty Ghosts.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
I'd found this glitch just by messing around, really. I was just kind of messing around in the map, and I got out, and I was like, wow, I want to show this. So that was the only video I had at the time to publish, and I did that. And then from then on in, I just got the bug, really. And my first few were glitches on Call of Duty Ghosts, showing how to get out of maps and things like that. And then it progressed further into using the back then it was well, on Call of Duty Ghosts it was the spectator cam,
Hmm.
and you could use that in multiplayer and look around outside the maps and things like that. So I was doing that, and that's kind of where it began to progress into the free camera side of things. So I was looking at other games that had free cameras
Yeah.
and using those to explore the maps and things.
That's excellent. And like, how much comes into mind really when like a game comes out, it gets released? Like, probably the best example probably would be like Resident Evil 8 this year, or perhaps Resident Evil 3 remake, which I know you did a lot of remake last year. Like, how much
Yeah.
does like the game coming out and you wanting to get access to it come into play? Are you in a rush, or is it just like you just take your time with it?
Oh, definitely. I mean, I think the thing with YouTube is you've got to be sort of, you've got to get the, I can't think of the word to use, but there's obviously a time limit of how long that game is going to be. Oh, just sorry about this. My screen's just gone off.
Okay.
What's going on here? Don't switch. Yeah, sorry. Yeah, I think with YouTube, you've got to be in the and get in there kind of quickly,
Yeah.
because obviously games are coming out now all the time. Like there's a new game every week, which is popular and trending. So to be in that trending bracket, you've got to work quite quickly. Otherwise, your content can just get lost. So I think, especially when Resident Evil 8 came out, obviously it's going to be a big game, and my channel has always done quite well with the Resident Evil games.
Yes.
So I really wanted to jump on it and get in there whilst it was still trending.
Yeah, definitely. No, it's
But obviously the problem with that is cameras and things like that. You've got to complete the game to know what you're looking for.
yeah,
So as I'm going through a game in my first playthrough, I'm constantly writing notes, thinking what could happen here, what would be out of bounds there, is there any secrets here, and then I've got to go back and play the game again and try and make the cameras and things like that.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of work goes into it behind the scenes before I even start making the video.
Yes. Yeah, again, I have so much respect for what you do. You know, it's a crazy thing that you do, and it goes so under the radar. What you do.
Oh, thank you, man. I appreciate it. I appreciate it.
No, and like you said, I discovered you through Resident Evil, because I'm a massive Resident Evil fan myself, and that's how I discovered your content. And
that's awesome.
Yeah, and you recently hit 50 videos, didn't you? In terms of 50 playthroughs,
slipping out videos.
Slipping out.
I did, yeah. So the last one was let me just think about this now. I can't even remember which videos I've done. The last one was one on Mirror's Edge, which someone called, he follows me on Twitter and he's on Discord actually. Boffin Brain got in touch with me and said, look, I've been doing this I've been playing Mirror's Edge and I've found the free camera and things like that, and I can do some recording for you if you'd like. And that was actually well over a year or two ago when he got in touch and said that. So I was like, yeah, cool, that sounds awesome. It'll save me a bit of work, and we'll get your name on the channel, obviously.
Fantastic.
And so he that was basically the last Slipping Out episode that we've ever done.
Well, to people who aren't aware of what Slipping Out is, and also give us a flavour of the videos you have covered, because I'm sure there's going to be people that will be interested in knowing what games you cover over those 50 episodes.
Yeah, so the first one was Mario 64. That was the initial episode.
Yeah.
And then moving on from that, we had Resident Evil 4. I've done Resident Evil on the GameCube, which was the remake.
Yeah.
And a few of the Call of Duties. We've done those. We've covered those. This was the Come On Brain. Did an episode of Manhunt, which was quite controversial because I couldn't show a lot of the stuff that happened in the game. It was a difficult one to do because obviously I couldn't show the death scenes or anything like that. So I had to kind of work around that on Manhunt. What else have we done? GTA. How can I forget GTA? We've covered the GTA San Andreas, GTA 3. Just trying to think off the top of my head.
Yeah.
You know when you have a brain fart, you just can't think. I'm having one of those at the moment.
No, that's cool.
I mean, there's quite a few various games, Mass Effect, quite a few different ones out there.
Yeah, man. No, it's amazing. Tell us about some of the favourite things you've discovered then. And what is the feeling you get when you do discover these little nuggets of like, oh my God, look at that.
Oh yeah, I mean it's really cool when you find something, and I always try and do a bit of research after I think I've found something. I always try and look into it just to see if someone else out there has seen it before, and I'm not just releasing something that I'm saying is brand new or a new find, a new discovery, when actually someone else has found it. I always try and do my best to research that. In fact, I have a few friends that also I'll get in touch with and say, look, I found this. Can you also check it out just so I'm not missing anything?
Yeah.
I mean, probably one of the most famous was the Resident Evil 4 mystery guy.
Yes.
Who was in the background. I genuinely looked all over the internet someone else who had found that, and I honestly did, and I got a couple of friends to do the same, and we never found anything. Then once I'd released the video, I did say in the video that if someone else out there has found this, then feel free to come forward. Unfortunately, when someone did, it actually went into my junk mail on YouTube. So, and I never look at that. I do know, obviously, because I've learned a lesson from that. But at the time, it went into my junk mail, and a person who had found it previously had sent me a link to the video, but because it had a video link in it, it automatically got sent to junk. So I was kind of like, oh, crap. I've missed this person's thing. But as soon as I found out that they'd made a video previously on that, I put that included in the comment. But that was probably one of the biggest things I found. I can't say first. I didn't find it first because
No.
someone else had already released the video, but it was probably the biggest and most well-known thing that I found.
Yeah. I mean, in terms of as of the recording of this for Boxing Day of Christmas, 2021, is there any firsts that still stick at the moment? That, as far as you're aware, you're the first to have found something?
One of them was actually in a recent, well, I wouldn't say recent, but I was playing 1080 snowboarding,
All right.
and in the audience, at a certain section of the audience, there's Mario and Luigi stood in the audience.
I think I've seen that. Yeah, as in your video.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
I was like, when I was playing the game, I was like, wait a minute, is that Mario? And then I saw Luigi stood next to him, and I was like, it's got to be Mario and Luigi. They're very pixelated. They're like pretty much square, really. And there's no way, well, there is a way if you were looking for it specifically, but I loaded up the original game on a Nintendo 64 on the TV, and it's that hard to see that it's no wonder I don't think anyone's found it before now because it's so pixelated,
Yeah.
and it's really hard to see them. But you can, if you look for them on the original game, you can see them there. But I was obviously using a free camera. It was like, damn, Luigi, has this ever been recorded that this is on here? And I don't think it has. Again, you can never be too sure because you don't know what other people have found, obviously, in the past. But I don't think that has ever been recorded as being a discovery, you know.
Awesome. That's so cool. Yeah. So, do you prefer looking into older games compared to newer games? What's the difference? Of having the graphical quality, obviously, and the complexity, but you know, what's your preference, and what is the technique similar or different?
The technique for doing it different depending on what game engine the game is built on. So, I mean, a lot of times in more recent games, you can use like debug modes and things like that, like we talked about earlier. Some of those have cameras built into them, free cameras built in that you can use. But a lot of times I'll use a program called Cheat Engine, which I can go into the game's memory and change the camera using that. And that's what I do for most games. But yeah, I mean, the technique of actually recording things that I do is similar in all games. And to answer the question, do I prefer older games or newer games? I tend to gravitate towards older games, just because I enjoy playing older games more.
Yeah.
But if there is a newer game that I want to play, say for instance Resident Evil 8 when that came out, I'm like, yeah, we'll cover that one straight away, you know.
No, that's great. And when it comes to older games, is there like a trove, or like a treasure chest, a trove of games that you can think about doing the techniques with that come to mind, or is it something that you think I probably won't touch that really?
No, I think there's no in particular type of game that I like to cover. Anything that I fancy playing, that's the game that I'll cover.
Yeah.
There is no sort of set thing where I look specifically for games that I can cover, if that makes sense.
Yeah. Yeah.
I know what, yeah. So I'm not looking for a game specifically to cover that game. It's just if I fancy playing that game, then I'll cover it.
Yeah, definitely.
So.
No, that's cool. I haven't actually. So, when did Slippy Slides come from? The name?
Slippy Slides, right? So Slippy Slides. Originally, when I first started the channel, I was covering glitches, as I've already said, but I wanted a cinnamon,
Yes.
a cinnamon for like a glitch. But something that could happen in real life, and the only thing I could think of at the time was a slip. So like you slip in real life, and it could be compared to a glitch on a game. I don't know. I'm not really, you know. And then the slides part, originally what I was going to do was make, as well as video, I was going to put stuff into slideshows
Got you.
during the video. So, like step-by-step instructions of how to do the glitches that I was showing in a slideshow. So it was like Slippy, which is the glitch, Slide, which is the slideshow part, although that never materialized
No.
when I started doing it. I just kind of made the videos and that was it. But yeah, that's where it came from, Slippy Slides.
There we
Yeah,
go.
it's nothing to do with water slides, believe it or not.
No. Have you had inquiries about that? I'm sure.
No, I've not. I've not actually.
No.
No, but it's always been on the back of my mind that that's probably what people think it's to do with water slides, which I can see why.
Oh, brilliant. Just yeah. So I mean, just another note. As a content creator, I usually ask this question to streamers, obviously, but a similar question for yourself really is: what advice would you give to anyone thinking of doing like content creation? What are the ups and downs of the process?
Yeah, yeah. Probably the main bit of advice I could give is if you are thinking of doing YouTube or streaming on Twitch, things like that. Not that I really stream. I don't, like I say, I don't do live streaming on Twitch, but it is something I'd like to do. I just don't have the confidence to do it. But definitely plan is one of the main things I'd say first. Like I rushed into it. I had that one video on Call of Duty. I set my channel up very, very quickly without really thinking about it. Slippy Slides just sort of came overnight, the name. That's what I was, it just materialized like that. And I kind of rushed into it, which I wish I'd never done. But definitely plan your channel, plan marketing. I know it's, you might be thinking into that things, but you never know what's going to happen.
Yeah, yeah.
I didn't realize Slippy Slides would end up where it is now at the time. So definitely plan your logo, plan banners, things like that, and also have a look at what other people have done. Sort of try to get something different, try to go for content that's different to what other people are doing.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's the main bit of advice is just plan what you're going to do first. Don't, try not to rush into anything, really.
Yeah, yeah. Is there what's the future then for Slippy Slides and on YouTube? Where's the channel going?
Well, good question. I've not actually made any content for quite a while now. I am in the process of making a Dead Space video,
Oh, excellent.
which I was hoping actually to get out probably about a month ago now. But I've just not had enough time to get that finished, mainly because of some technical difficulties that I ran into with building the camera. But it should be coming fairly soon. I might wait till after Christmas now, actually.
Yeah.
Because I'm back at work up until Christmas. I finish it off until then. But after Christmas, or maybe in between Christmas and New Year, I'll release that one.
Fantastic.
But as Slippy Slides as a whole, I do work. I'm only working on Slippy Slides part-time, so I have another job.
Yeah.
So that kind of takes precedence over Slippy Slides at the moment. I mean, it would be awesome to run Slippy Slides as a full-time job, but it just doesn't happen at the it won't happen at the moment.
Yeah.
But yeah, we'll see how it goes. Let's put it that way. I'm not 100% sure. If it kind of fizzles out, it fizzles out. I've had a good time doing it, and I'll just go back to my job full time.
Yeah.
But if it continues, then so be it. I still have fun making the videos, so I don't see why it wouldn't continue just right now.
Yeah.
But you never know.
Yeah. I mean, the beautiful thing about content creation is that you can dictate really the pace of it, can't you? Like you can say, right, I'm not going to do videos for now, or like you said, if in between time, just slowly build on it and then release it, and then the next one will come.
I mean, sorry.
No, that's basically the point I was making. Yeah, no.
Yeah, I mean, you can do that to a certain degree, but obviously, with YouTube especially, the algorithms seem to like you uploading every week.
Yeah,
It
good
seems,
point.
if not once a day. So to put videos out once a month like I've been doing, they just seem to fall by the wayside, and get lost in the mass of content that's being uploaded there.
Yeah,
So you've got to kind of, I think, be a content creator and become sort of, what's the word for it? Like, I don't know. I just feel like sometimes a lot of channels that are producing great content sometimes get lost because they're not, even though the content's great and it's probably some of the best stuff I've ever watched, it gets lost because the algorithm doesn't pick up that they're putting out videos every single day or every single week, which I think is a real shame.
yeah. No, you're right. You're right. It's a bit worrying actually for how the future works really in that respect, because if we're all working on algorithms, I mean, there's burnout, there's mental health, there's pressures of real life and stuff that comes into it.
That's right, yeah, that's right. And stuff like especially stuff like I'm doing where it takes so long to even create the cameras in the first place. It's impossible to put out videos every week. You just can't do that unless you've got a big team behind you
Yes.
who are making the cameras for you, editing the videos, writing the scripts, things like that. I mean, if you've got that team behind you, then that's all good. But to put a video out every week for me would just be impossible. I'd never be able to do that.
Yeah. Yeah. But yeah, hopefully got Dead Space looking forward to, and there's a trove of YouTube content on your channel already. All sorts of games covered there. So
Yeah.
it's a fantastic YouTube CV, that's for sure, man.
Oh, thank you very much. Thank you.
That's
I'm
about
glad
it.
you enjoy it too.
No, thank you. And that's about it, really. That's a wrap, I think.
Yeah.
Everyone,
I just say a massive thank you to everyone who has supported Slippy Slides as well. I just want to put that out there. That I
definitely.
do really appreciate the support on the videos. Hitting the like button really helps. That helps with the algorithm too. So
Yes.
I appreciate everybody who's come and watched the videos and hit the like button and subscribe to the channel as well.
Yeah, brilliant. And if you haven't already, please hit that subscribe button, hit those like buttons, like we said. Just one more time, do you want to just tell us where we can find you? I know we can find you on YouTube, but
Slippy Slides, obviously, but you can find me on all the other usual social media platforms too, I guess. I'm on Twitter and Instagram and also Discord, and I am trying to grow my Discord community at the minute, so it would be awesome to see more people on there. Yeah, if you have any gaming mysteries or gaming curiosities, should we say, you want checking out, then maybe it's just something you've seen out of bounds and you're not quite sure what it is, then feel free to come and hit me up on there and I will see what I can do. Obviously, I can't promise anything. I may not even have the game that you're requesting, but there are other members on my Discord who love looking into mysteries and researching Easter eggs too. So maybe if I can't help, then someone else on there can. You never know. It's definitely worth coming, giving us a shout, and we'll see what we can do.
that's brilliant. Excellent. Thank you so much, Slippy Slides, and Merry Christmas. I think it's Boxing Day now, isn't it? So technically.
Thank you.
So
Yeah.
have a lovely holidays, everyone, and hopefully see you in 2022. Take care.
Yeah.
Bye-bye.
Thank you very much. Bye now.